Hey guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the CMP changes that are coming into the game. And yeah, I know you can see all my little camera options. It's because I'm also planning on recording a little bit of me and then a little bit of my phone screen. So we're going to be doing some switching around. So just for now, what I wanted to go over is some of the ways in which the new CMP change can be utilized to pretty good effect. So first and foremost, just to go over the change, if your Pokemon has a higher attack stat and you fire a charge move at the same time as somebody else does, it's no longer a coin flip. It's no longer like who locked in or who invited who, or nope, it's just whoever has the higher attack stat will win that. Now, I don't think it's live. I've been testing it like every day, and I don't see it in the game yet. Niantic said it would be in this update, and my thought is either they did it wrong or they haven't done it yet, and there's just no optics on that, so I don't know. But we have to assume that it's eventually going to be in the game, and I like thinking about it right now, and I like talking about it right now, so we're going to do that. So one of the main advantages you can have, which is really obvious with the hands of a good player that counts moves, is when you know they're about ready to fire a charge move, just fire yours first, right? Just click yours at that exact time. And then, what's interesting, if you have more attack, then you will fire your charge move off first. They will have to shield it or whatever, right, to like try and not die. And then they'll have to fire off their move. And a lot of times in Pokemon Go, that actually results in a really bad situation. Because many times when somebody's farming against you, right, or you're farming against them, either way, you're basically saying, okay, what's the longest amount of time possible before I get rid of this dude, right? Like, I'm farming up a ton of energy, and I can't kill this Pokemon with fast moves, so I need to fire a charge move to get rid of it. I just don't need to fire it right when it's available. I can do a few more fast moves first, and that'll be more profitable. The issue is when you farm too much, they fire a charge move, and it sucks. You have to shield it, or you would die. And then you have to spend a shield when you kind of didn't want to. But afterwards, right? You're like, well, I spent the shield, but I might as well farm them all the way down with fast moves then. Like, I wasn't planning on farming this much. I wasn't planning on spending like my second shield or something, for instance, but I already had to, so we'll just wing it, right? Well, the same can be said in the opposite context. So if you were to take that same amount of farming, and then you were to feint down the opponent, or sorry, if the opponent was like, okay, I'm farming me, right? They're farming me, and then they choose, I'm gonna fire off a charge move now to get rid of me and my energy. I'm like really close to a charge move, and they're like, I want to get him now so he can't attack me. And then I get my move off first, and it's a CMP tie. It's the worst when it's a CMP tie. So normally, I would fire off the move, let's say, right? My opponent would be like, dang it, I farmed a little too much. And then afterwards they'd be like, well, I might as well keep farming and take all the energy into the next matchup. The worst one is when I fire my move, they also fired their move. Mine gets shielded, because you have to shield, and then the opponent still launches their attack. They still fire off their moves, right? They can't like cancel it or anything. There's no button in Pokemon Go to like cancel. I wanted to use my charge move to delete this Pokemon before it used its energy. It just used its energy. I no longer want to use my charge move. This is actually just the worst of both situations. It got to fire off the move that I didn't really want it to fire off, and I don't even get to farm it down with fast moves at this point. That's not an option. So I just get like option number 3, which is just like the worst one. So because Pokemon Go doesn't have a button that says, actually, I changed my mind. Can you not fire? Can you cancel my charge move after theirs, please? I'm going to shield this one, and can you just go ahead and cancel? Because that's not in the game, you can condition this to happen in your games. You can deliberately make this happen. How would you do that? Well, for instance, if you were... Let's say you were in a Toxicroak mirror match. Good example there. Rush the Mud Bomb, throw the Mud Bomb, get the kill. Okay, cool. So let's say you're both just farming up, right, and throwing moves out, and it's all good in the hood, right? The issue is when Toxicroak, whichever one has a higher attack IV, is actually going to be like really, really advantaged in that match, because they're just gonna. Oh, not sure why it faded there. That wasn't dramatic or anything. I think it was my my screen trying to time out. But anyways, so the first Mud Bomb is extremely lethal. So if you have a higher attack stat, you're just going to Mud Bomb the Toxicroak before they Mud Bomb you. And I'm not talking about QSA. If you don't know what that is, Google it. People do better videos about that than I can do justice here. But it subverts a lot of the CMP stuff anyways, to where your moves ahead. So let's just assume no QSA, or it gets patched out of the game. I don't know. You are left with the attack stat being the most important. And so in a match with Toxicroaks, it would actually be really, really frustrating to do the first Mud Bomb. You CMP tie. Let's say I have the higher attack stat. Mine goes off first. You shield. I shield. Okay, mine goes off second again, right? Or the second Mud Bomb. Mine goes off first. You shield. And then do I shield? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I already got both your shields. Maybe I'll just switch into my other guy that counters your Toxicroak, farm up some energy with it, and then pressure your next two guys with, you don't have any shields, so I can use whatever awesome coverage move I have, you know? If I got like a Solar Beam on a Fire Pokemon or something, then I could like toss that out, you know, like Typhlosion or something, or Castform. They have these weird Ninetales. They have these weird moves that are really good with coverage, but they don't work unless you have shields down or you get really, really lucky. So in that case, you can guarantee like a really, really fortunate result. So obviously, you can also do this when it's not a mirror match, when you're simply counting moves and you're like, all right, I think they're about coming up on a charge move any moment, and bam, I'm going to fire mine. And I know they were spamming theirs. So now they have to shield. You spent your energy. You don't care if you die. They don't want to spend their energy, but they have to. And it's a feels bad. It's a feels bad situation, right? So, high attack stat Pokemon in the hands of good players actually probably are ridiculously strong. Ridiculously strong. Because I know you guys have probably had that situation where you try to use your charge move to stop them from using theirs, and they get it first. And it's a really hard game to win at that point. It is. You can still win it, but it's a disadvantage for sure. It's not good. So, let's jump on over to Haunter. Haunter, I think, is going to be someone who can take advantage of this attack stat thing the most. He has a ridiculous attack stat. Let's go see how much. Okay, Haunter. 162. Ooh boy. All right, that is really high. We're gonna take this this sample here from the Timeless Cup. So we have Haunter versus Kingdra. Now this is a pretty interesting match. Let's just go ahead and sim it out regularly, right? We actually don't even need to do this. We can just do 0 shields with Kingdra, no problem. Dragon Breath. Oh, my bad. Sorry, 1 shield with Kingdra. No problem. And then, God, why? Why would you do that? Why would you fire an Octazooka there? It just doesn't even make any sense. Okay, we're gonna do PV Poke a favor here. What we're gonna do is, so let's just go over it real quick, okay? I'm a big fan of Haunter, so hang on tight, you guys. I'll get through this. So Shadow Punch number 1, you just fire it right away. Kingdra's like, whatever, I don't care. Shadow Punch number 2. You can't get there. It doesn't work. I know it looked like you could do a second Shadow Punch, but when you plug it into PV Poke is also understanding that this Dragon Breath right here, this last one, that Dragon Breath is at the same time that you select the Shadow Punch. And 1-turn moves, if you didn't know this, actually damage you before your charge move is able to resolve. So you're going to click Shadow Punch and you're going to die to Dragon Breath because Dragon Breath is faster. It's crazy, but that's what the new timing with energy change, that's how that works. So Haunter, clearly, it would be a misplay if Haunter were to fire off a Shadow Punch. So we're going to go for a Shadow Ball. And by the way, it's also a misplay to use Octazooka here because what you'd rather do is you'd rather save the Octazooka for the next Pokemon and debuff it. That's a lot stronger. So, and you can still beat the Haunter without it, right? Like you can kill it without it, and then you could just outrage the next Pokemon or something, right? So we're all good. We're looking good there. We're looking good in the neighborhood. Now, reset the timeline. We're going to go to Shadow Ball here. Okay? Going to go to Shadow Ball. This is pretty standard, guys. Just hold on. The cool stuff comes up later. So we do the Shadow Ball, and then what does Kingdra still do? Kingdra still farms it down and tosses an Outrage against the next Pokemon. Nothing resists Dragon in this cup, except literally like Empoleon. So, yeah, it's going to hurt. Outrage is going to hurt really bad. So, you have the Outrage. It gets tossed out. Everything's looking good. Everybody is happy. You spent a shield. You're going to gain the shield later, right? You're going to gain the shield back with Outrage, and then you're essentially even on shields. You gain the switch advantage. Kingdra is looking phenomenal, okay? But let's do it differently. Let's do it differently. So what we can do is we can come right up to here. Look, see this right here? This time point? This is Octazooka. Now, just imagine being in this matchup. And you're fighting, you get to here. Now you get to here, and you're worried. As Kingdra, you're like, wait, why has it not Shadow Balled me yet? Or maybe you're not quite counting, because it's like everybody's health is just dropping super fast, and you're thinking on Kingdra like, okay, I'm probably going to get hit with one Shadow Ball here, I'll just shield, and then I'll Outrage the next guy. Sounds good, right? So Kingdra, though, if it gets to here, what do you think Kingdra would do? If Haunter still didn't fire anything off? Sure, it's a 10 HP, but, like, you don't think Haunter's just going to die with a full set of energy, right? And he probably can't switch out. It's too hard to switch out when you're that low. So, like, how does this play out? Well, I would probably just be spamming Octazooka. That's what I would do. I'd just kill the Haunter. Okay? Sounds good? Sounds good. All right. Now, how do we use this in Haunter's favor? How do we take this advantage against Kingdra? And how do we use what I was saying before? How do we lock Kingdra into spending energy after we spend ours, right? Because our attack stat is 162. Kingdra is at 121. There's no way. It's not even close. So, here's what you do. You go into PV Poke. This is a feature actually from kind of a long time ago, back when there was undertapping. You can do this thing called waiting, and it would allow the energy to come in from the opponent, and then you could fire off your charge move, whatever. It's not very useful right now, but you can still use it in battle. See, if I don't wait, if I throw this Shadow Claw right here, if I go Shadow Claw, I can't do anything between this turn and this turn. I cannot choose an input. Here is where I can throw Shadow Ball. And here is where I get Octazooka. And at that point, you don't want to have to spend your shield against Octazooka so that you can Shadow Ball the Kingdra, right? That's not ideal. It's fine, I guess. It's a fine matchup. You can try and, like, I don't know, recover from the game differently. But let's aim higher, right? Let's aim higher. So we're going to use the wait feature. You can do this in your Sims as well. Boom. You wait one turn. All right. So Haunter is doing nothing here. Haunter does nothing for half a second. I don't think Kingdra's going to notice for half a second that Haunter stood around and didn't do anything right as you're coming up on Octazooka. You're staring at your Octazooka button. You're spamming your Octazooka button because you want Haunter to spend that shield. If he wants to Shadow Ball you, he needs to spend that shield, right? That's a really good use of Octazooka, in my opinion. So, like most good players are going to do that. So let's pop in Shadow Ball now, right? And we're going to have to shield the attack or Kingdra dies. And then you actually come back here. Here is where the same turn of Octazooka, it doesn't matter if there's a buff or debuff because we're not going to shield it. We're just going to die. So here it is. This is the result. Doesn't this look great? Doesn't this look great? You're up one shield. You have a dragon at half health. Now, what do we know about dragons at half health with no energy? We know that our own dragon can farm that, right? Our own Kingdra, our own Dragonair, whichever, right? They're going to get to about half health of their own. You know, it's going to be like my Kingdra's going to get to half health or whatever, and then yeah, it's gonna end up having enough energy to launch something at the second Pokemon. So you're basically going to take out their other shield or force like a really heavy hitting dragon move. So either way, that's that's what I'm saying you can do. And yeah, once this change goes live, we should be able to have more situations like this. There's also one more thing that I wanted to bring up. So I'm going to bring that up now. Basically, there's another strat. This strat is where you have a... sorry about the light there. So this strat is where you have a... let's say a Haunter as a lead. You charge up some energy on it. Let's say it's not dying to Dragon Breath. Let's say it's a Fine Whip or something, right? Charge up a Shadow Ball on it and then swap out. And then you keep it in the back. What that does, and you keep it until like last, right? Third Pokemon. I'm sure a lot of you have had a situation where you know the third Pokemon in the back has a charge move. And you know that that charge move will kill you, your last guy, and you'll die, you don't have shields, and it's going to be bad, right? So you know the only way you can win is by killing their like penultimate Pokemon, basically, with fast moves or something, and then basically still having a charge move to contest their last guy. You toss that out, they toss theirs out, it's a CMP tie, who knows who's going to win. Well, now we know who's going to win, Haunter's going to win. So if you can essentially take your other two Pokemon and get rid of their shields, kill two Pokemon and get rid of two shields, then your Haunter just guarantees win the game. That's basically it. And this happens a lot, and you can condition this. The other way you can do it is by tossing Haunter in, not first, right? So you have a random Pokemon in first, you switch. Whenever you switch to your second one, they usually die. Okay, because the two switches are going to be locked. Somebody's going to die. Somebody comes in, usually kills the other one. So they exchange deaths, and then there's still a 2v2. And when you come in after your opponent, after you have a fainted Pokemon, so like if my Pokemon were to die, I would throw something in, and then a little bit later I would have the switch clock available again, right? The cooldown would be available, and you could switch in. At that point, that's where the third Pokemon could come in. So basically, so you lead with one, you swap to second, then you deploy, instead of throwing your lead back in, you throw Haunter in, who's third, right? He's never been seen before. He comes in, farms up a Shadow Ball, and then switches to your lead. And then when your lead dies, you just spam Shadow Ball for the kill. And it'll happen right away, and it'll beat all CMP ties. So, some cool CMP strats. And I hope that it helps out. I hope that it happens soon. I'm super excited to try it out. And I'm super excited to count everyone's moves and then make them waste all their energy and be really sad. So that's probably going to be how I'm going to spike my win rate by like 10 or 15% easily, if I can do that consistently. So yeah, we're hoping. So all right, hope you found this helpful, and I'll catch you later, guys.